seem tall to you guys? I like being tall, I really do. I just get tired of people coming up to me going, yo, you play basketball? No, do you play miniature golf? I saw the little putter and I just assumed, oh look, now it's a 3-wood. That's kind of a joke grenade a couple of you in that. I have to chew, I'm so tall, I have to chew a lot of gum when I date. It's not so much for me and my breath, but it's for the guys in case they try to climb up and try to kiss me. It keeps their ears from popping. See me after the show, okay? But listen, ladies, I don't leave the girls out, okay? I just give them half a piece, because you only have to climb up half as far. Here you go. But I do. I really like being tall. I do. I just get a little tired of the people coming up to me on the street also going, yo, Weird Al Yankovic, we love your music. It's not that funny. All right. Speaking of which, I'd like to start off with my newest. Would you guys like to hear my newest parody? All right. This is my newest Lady Gaga parody of her big smash hit, Bad Romance. This is my version, Trump and Putin Bromance. Okay? I want your ugly orange disease. I want that hairpiece, rub it on me. Oh, caught in a Trump and a Putin bromance. Oh, and now the Republicans are shitting their pants. You gotta be freaking kidding me. How can this be really happening? How could anybody be dumb enough to even vote for such a piece of shit? Donald Trump is such a fake-haired f***ing moron. Donald Trump is such a fake-haired. Donald Trump is such a fake-haired f***ing moron. Donald Trump is such a fake-haired f***ing moron. Show us your taxes. Oh, caught in a Trump and a Putin bromance. Oh, maybe it's time we all move to France. Right now it's totally clear as a bell that our nation's freaking out the whole world. He's got his finger on the nuclear button while he's tweeting like the 12-year-old girl. You guys know the chorus. Donald Trump is such a fake-haired f***ing moron. Donald Trump is such a fake-haired f***ing moron. Steve Bannon's white trash. He's f***ing Kellyanne. They're second cousins. Check it out on Ancestry. Caught in a Trump and a Putin romance. And now the Republicans are pooping their pants. You know, even people who are mentally challenged, at least they know they're smarter than him. I swear to God, he likes to talk about dating his daughter. Right? Yeah. But even Ivanka won't go out with him. One more time, everybody! Donald Trump is such a fake-haired f***ing moron. Donald Trump is such a fake-haired f***ing moron. Show us your taxes. Thank you! Like shopping centers put up open during construction signs for their customers, White House Chief of Staff General Kelly has recently ordered a similar sign for the front of the White House. Hey there, thanks for tuning into the program. I'm Connie Bryan and you're watching the Connie Bryan Show. At the top of the show, I always like to welcome all of our viewers. and the growing network that we have of Access Center markets. So, of course, first of all, I want to welcome all of our Sacramento viewers here in the state capital of California, where we emanate from. Also, Davis, I want to welcome all of you, and coming up on the show during my guest portion of the program, I'm actually going to take you to Davis, and we're going to talk to some of the townfolk in that charming college town and get their opinions on the problems that we're facing as a nation with Donald Trump. Also, I want to welcome our Santa Barbara viewers, many of whom may remember me from way back when I started the show there and was producing it for about 4 years or so. Starting in 2003 all the way through to toward the end of 2007, the early part of 2008. Of course, then eventually moved to Sacramento, continuing the program out here. Welcome to Pasadena, our Pasadena viewers. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're excited to have you as part of our network. And last but not least, most recently, since the last taping of the episode, I'm excited to announce that we're now a national program. We've been picked up by the Washington, D.C. market. So welcome to all of our D.C. viewers. Now, this is the part of the program that I like to catch you up on current events and some of the news stories that I thought you should know about and might be interested in out of the local newspaper, our local newspaper, of course, being the Sacramento Bee. So most, if not all, of my stories come from the Sacramento Bee as a general rule. Now, some of our younger viewers may be wondering, the newspaper? What? I mean, see, kids, the newspaper. Let me put it like this: some of us folks who are a little older than you, we like to go outside once in a while, and we don't spend the whole day, buried in our computers and involved in social media. We like to get out in fresh air, and when we do, we still like websites, but we want to carry them with us, We want to carry them around with us. They come in handy if you're out in the park, for like a fly swatter. Actually, they really come in handy too, I've found, for Trump supporter swatters, when you find these Trump supporters that are there ain't no proof that Donald Trump was cooperating with the Russians. It's like, geez, man, if you just read the newspaper, it's right there. We've got evidence all the time. They just found emails from Donald Trump Jr., Trump's son, in which he was communicating with Russians who were telling him in the email, where this is on behalf of Putin and the government of Russia. We're trying to help you and your father win the election, and we want to give you some stuff we found on it. He's like in the email saying, cool, I love it, especially if it's close in the summer, close to the end of the election. I mean, we get these people, there's no proof that Donald Trump had any business dealing. Yes, read it, it's in the newspaper. There's stories all the time talking about this stuff. It shows that he lied. Donald Trump lied, saying he has no business relation. Now we find out one of his closest business associates, Felix Sater, I believe the guy's name is, was involved in talking directly to Putin and his spokesperson about building a Trump Tower in Moscow. Not only that, but was also quoted in the email saying, we're going to work with Putin and we're going to get Trump elected president. It's in the newspaper if you just read it. You'd like to kind of pop them on top of the head, these Trump supporters that are like that, but you can't, you're not going to hit them on the head with it. You just hit them on the rear end a little bit. That's because their heads are buried up their ass, Anyway, take a look at this first story. I thought you'd like this. This entitled, Stephen King Joins Special Screening of It. It says here that, his new movie, It, okay? It says here that King's radio station in Bangor, Maine, WKIT-FM, get it? WKIT, It. Anyway, his radio station sponsored this special showing of his new movie, and everyone was surprised when Stephen King himself walked out to address the audience before the viewing. He told the crowd, I just want to caution everybody here tonight about the danger and horror you will soon experience from the egomaniacal, mentally unstable, sewer-dwelling clown. After which he said, enough about Donald Trump and the inspiration for my movie. Let's just go ahead and roll the film. All right, take a look at this next story entitled, Largest Capacity Container Ship Visits New Jersey Port. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey has spent, are you guys ready for this? This story is informing us that the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey have spent $1.6 billion to raise the Bayonne Bridge. And if that wasn't enough, they had to deepen the port channel in order to accommodate the Theodore Roosevelt, the largest capacity container ship ever to visit an East Coast port. It says here that the Theodore Roosevelt is the length of 4 football fields. It's 166 feet wide. It can carry more than 7,200 standard 40-foot shipping containers. And an apologetic Walmart spokesperson was quoted telling New Jersey taxpayers in an interview, he said, you know, we're very sorry for the need for such expensive accommodation for our container ship, but what do you expect when the size of our average Walmart customer is expanding at an equal rate? I mean, our superstores have to have as many rascal scooters now as we do shopping carts. It's crazy. But, you know, we came up with an idea in honor of your state's governor in New Jersey. If you think the Theodore Roosevelt was supersized, wait till you see our most expansive container ship ever. It's going to be bright yellow like a giant Twinkie, and of course it's going to be named the Chris Christie. All right, take a look at this next story. Are you ready to pay $1,000 for a smartphone? That's a rhetorical question, of course. This story by Haley Tsukayama of the Washington Post. It says, as we gear up for another smartphone battle between Samsung and Apple this year, there is a new wrinkle for the average smartphone customer to consider. Prices that edge toward $1,000 for a new phone. It goes on to say the smartphone buying public is craving innovation from this latest batch of phones. You think for $1,000, you think we're craving innovation? All right, this is it, ladies. This is it. This is where we have to take a stand. It's time we band together and finally draw the line with Apple on this, because if wanna be a gigolo, Tim Cook, super nerd Tim Cook, really wants $1,000 to screw me, all right? That iPhone better be able to give me multiple hands-free orgasms in traffic. And not only that, afterward it better be able to cuddle me in rush hour on the 405, right? And take a look at this cartoon I found, this related cartoon on the topic, you know, showing a woman being tempted by, of course, the devil as the snake in the Garden of Eden, you know, trying to get her to buy the $1,000 phone. I mean, is it fair to characterize Apple as Satan? Is that a little harsh? I don't think so. I mean, $1,000? How much is it again that Apple pays the little slave children in their Chinese factories to make the phones in the first place? I'd say multiple hands-free orgasms on my daily commute. That's the only thing that could possibly make us forget that kind of guilt if we bought one of those phones. And take a look at this story here. Trump featured in this story urging Mexican president to end wall defiance. I don't know if you heard about this, but this story by Greg Miller of the Washington Post was absolutely stunning and amazing in how clearly it revealed Trump's constant con game. For those of you that have still not picked up on it, I don't know how yet you didn't see it from the very beginning, but his con game is detailed in this story. It details how in Trump's very first White House call to Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto, Trump pressed the Mexican leader to stop saying Mexico would never pay for the wall. In the White House transcripts of the phone call, Trump repeatedly tells the Mexican president, "You cannot say that to the press." He then admits to the Mexican president that funding for the wall would, of course, have to come from other sources other than Mexico, but that the Mexican president's defiant comments were making Trump look bad to his base. Like the Mexican president gives a damn, you know? The transcripts also reveal that Trump spent much of the call trying to enlist the Mexican president in a deal to stop talking about how the wall would be paid for. Trump is heard saying, "On the wall, you and I both have a political problem. My people stand up and say Mexico will pay for the wall because I've been saying that for 2 years." The White House transcripts of the call showed Trump telling the Mexican president he has to help him to suppress the issue. This is Trump planning deception right here in these transcripts. He's actually caught planning deception, trying to enlist the Mexican president to get in on his con in order to continue to fool his base on what he admits is one of the biggest campaign promises he made. Trump told the Mexican president, look, let's make a deal. You play along with me on this and just act like you're going to pay for the wall. But don't worry, because ultimately, I promise, I'm going to make Taco Bell pay for the wall. I mean, it's their fault anyway. Have you seen how many Mexicans they hire at Taco Bell? And it's all Taco Bell's fault with their double naked chalupas and their potato Ritos and their chicken biscuit tacos and their triple bacon cheddar gordita. God, I just can't get it. It's to die for. Have you had one of those? And then what do after they make all those delicious products? They tell the whole world to make a run for the border. So trust me, Taco Bell is paying for the f***ing wall. All right. We're going to move on now to our guest portion of the show, and you're really going to like this. So stick around. It's going to be really, really enjoyable. I'm going to take you out to Davis. Where we're going to actually talk to some of the college town folk out there about their opinions regarding Donald Trump. Stick around, you're going to like this. Hey there, I'm Connie Bryan with the Connie Bryan Show. What's your name?
Hi, Connie. My name is Kathy Sept, and I was born and raised in Davis, California.
Well, you're just who we want to talk to. We came down to talk to some of the town folk here in College Town, here in Davis. My show is airing here in Davis, as well as Sacramento, Pasadena, Santa Barbara, and we just recently got picked up in Washington, D.C., so we're kind of looking to maybe let Donald Trump hear, since the show is going to be airing there finally, let him hear from folks here on the West Coast. Do you have some concerns about what we're facing with him?
I sure do, and a lot of it has to do with health insurance.
Because you actually have a condition.
I have ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Okay.
I also have stage 4 neuroendocrine cancer.
Oh,
so, and I know so many people with these horrible diseases, and it's absolutely imperative that we get medical insurance that can keep us alive as much as possible.
Absolutely.
And so the whole thing that he's saying about that, he's not thinking clearly. He's not thinking like, okay, come on, Donald Trump, come talk to Kathy Sept.
Right.
And find out what it's really all about.
And he claimed that he was all about the common man, right? But yet when he got into office, all that changed, and they were just trying to serve the needs of the 1%, it seemed.
Right. And I'm surprised that more of his supporters haven't said, hey, you're not doing what you said you would.
Hey, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Artie.
What's your name again?
Artie.
Artie, where are you from? You're
from the UK.
From the UK, awesome. So have you been keeping up with all that we're dealing with over here with Donald Trump?
I was reading the news last year. It seems a little bit crazy. So I thought I had to come over here and see what's going on.
And see what's going on for yourself. So I found you here in Davis. What brought you to Davis? Are you going to taking any classes here?
No, I'm going to be working at the university.
Going to be working? Okay, great.
Davis seemed like a pretty safe place, considering that, the rest of the country maybe went a bit mad. I'm not sure, which is what we're talking about now.
That's a good way to put it.
Is that what? Is that
went a little bit mad.
A little bit mad, it seems. I don't know.
5150. How about that?
I think maybe. I think it would be more interesting to go somewhere else, because I've only found people that agree with me over here, and maybe it would be more interesting to go and talk to some of the actual Trump people, because I'm fascinated in.
Have you been seeking out some Trump supporters to understand them better?
I've not been doing anything too active on that front. Not
okay.
Really.
Well, what I can say is that, like many people, I think I was quite surprised by the results of the election. I really thought there'd be more of a safety net, and that people would understand, the situation we'd be facing.
Right.
But since it did happen and that he was elected, I then got very involved in of what I think gets sort of umbrella grouped as the resistance.
Right.
Well, my particular role in that is I'm very interested in the 2018 congressional election, where the Democrats maybe have a chance to take back certain seats in the House.
I'm concerned about LGBTQ rights.
Absolutely.
In the campaign, he was trying to say, hey, I'm a friend of LGBTQ, and all that kind of stuff. And now, he just did the thing where no trans people are allowed to be in the military, and that is ridiculous. A human is human, whatever they do well, absolutely. It also bothers me that he, that shoots from the hip, so to say, the tweets and this kind of stuff, that his it just blurts out something that could endanger our entire country.
So what's your concern about the madness that you started off saying? What's your concern specifically as an immigrant?
Yeah, well, as an immigrant, I don't know. I don't feel as though it's going to affect me, especially as an immigrant, but as a citizen of the world.
Yes, and other immigrants
I feel as though
that
we should all, on behalf of other immigrants as well. I don't know. I just think it's very frightening to have.
Because it seems like it's affecting not necessarily UK immigrants, but more like brown skin and Muslim.
That's what I mean by when I say I don't think it's going to be too bad for me necessarily. However, so one of my concerns, my concerns are that we seem to have a bit of an egotistical megalomaniac at the steering wheel of a very, very large and powerful militarized nation, and that could have some traumatic consequences for people not just in this nation but all around the world.
Absolutely. So his unfitness for the office. And are you hearing those same things from your friends over there in the UK?
Yeah, I think everyone in the UK seems to be on the same wavelength, that basically dumbfounded that this has happened.
And I think it was insulting also the way he and his wife went to Texas originally in the floods, and they're basically putting on a show, and his wife is wearing these pumps.
Right.
And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. These people have glasses are up to their neck in water.
How is it that you and I, can see so clearly the con job?
Right.
And yet such a strong portion, such a significant portion of the population got conned by it. How can people be so blind to his con act?
Right.
I
think some of it is people weren't happy with the old politics, and they just wanted to go for something else. It wasn't Hillary, and their next choice was Trump, because they thought he was going to be not a politician.
Hey there, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Owen.
Owen? Mm-hmm. Nice to meet you, Owen. I'm
Good to
Connie.
meet you too.
What are your thoughts on Donald Trump and what we're facing due to his election here in this country?
Oh boy, okay.
How do you think this happened?
I think we had 8 years of Obama, and obviously there were going to be people angry about 8 years of a black president. I think it's just backlash. I think we're making progress, and this is the backlash.
It was a backlash because of the fact that we've accomplished so much in that regard and finally elected a black president. So you think we're going to get past it and continue to make progress?
I mean, we kind of have to.
So I'm just talking to some of the folks here in Davis about their concerns regarding Donald Trump. Do you guys have any thoughts you might share?
Oh, Donald Trump. Where do I start with that man? Oh God, where do I start? Oh, he lives on Twitter.
He cares more about what his followers are doing than about actually running the country.
Yeah.
Well said.
I mean,
that's so true.
He cares more about
ego,
popping back.
His ego, and
he is all ego. He's just all hot air. He's not really doing anything.
Someone says anything against him, he's raging about it on Twitter.
He'd probably try to get the FBI down on him.
Oh yeah.
And he fired Comey just to stop the invasion. He admitted after he did it.
Mm-hmm.
First he tried to lie and say the reason was over Hillary, but then he went on NBC interview and said, yeah, it was actually because of the Russian investigation.
Right, it's just so funny. Every time anyone tries to get closer to what he's been doing, suddenly they're not good enough and they're gone.
They're gone.
They're just gone. They're done.
It's kind of scary.
Hey, you guys. I'm Connie. What's your name?
My name is Eric.
Eric, and this
Serena.
is
Serena.
Serena, and you are
Ashley.
Ashley, okay, and
Louis.
Louis?
Yes.
Okay, and
What's that?
all right. And how many of you guys are taking classes here in Davis? All of you?
I'm the grad student.
Oh, you're the grad student, okay.
Already graduated.
How much is Donald Trump coming up here in Davis? Hit the topic of Donald Trump in this progressive town. Is it coming up a lot?
A lot, and I actually am in the public health program, and so a lot. We talk a lot about policy.
Give me a couple of your main concerns regarding this con artist in chief.
Especially health insurance right now with the whole ACA and also DACA as well. How can you do that to dreamers, man?
Yes.
I was like, they're the ones who become the doctors and the engineers. Like, you want those people in your society. So
Most of mine kind of stem from one, being a woman. Thankfully, at least
Absolutely.
a white woman. At least I've got that.
What woman could vote for him after what he just that one quote?
Oh my God, a lot of white women apparently. Great, good job, guys.
The obedient, subservient wives supporting their angry white husbands.
The best. But not only that, but I'm also an educator, so a lot of my concerns tend to deal with children who are multicultural, who are undocumented,
Right.
who I feel are as entitled to an education as everyone else, but because of like DACA being revoked or under revision, there's since he took office, there's been a huge increase in students who are not showing up for class because they're afraid that they're going to come home and their family's not going to be there, or they're going to find them at school and they're not going to be there.
Right.
So essentially, it's a lot of racial issues. Also, it really concerns me that white supremacists are finding solidarity in one another.
How did you react when you saw what happened in Charlottesville, and then President Trump starts trying to give cover to the white supremacists and things like this?
I thought that was a shame. I think he, I'll give credit to Donald Trump because I think he knows what he's doing, and I think he knows that he doesn't want to alienate his racist supporters.
Very, very good point.
So I think I know why he's doing that, but that's not the right thing
He's
to do.
appeasing his base.
He is.
What else with that man? Oh, his unhealthy obsession with his daughter Ivanka.
God,
Absolutely.
That's disgusting.
If I wasn't her father, I'd be dating her. He said that on like what,
Thank you for
3
bringing that up.
occasions.
He's documented saying that.
Yes.
This is his own flesh and blood daughter, and he's being.
If she wasn't his
even
daughter.
if she wasn't, it's pretty up. I'm sorry, can I
It's
say
okay. It is. It totally is.
Considering who his wives,
Who says
she
that?
does right. Like
He does.
And this is the man that we trust to run our country. So they want to say they didn't trust Hillary Clinton because of the whole like Bill cheating on her and everything, and her just letting it slide. But then they're gonna elect a guy who hits on his daughter on
Sexual
live
comments.
TV.
It's sexualized comments.
It's like, who
What the hell?
sexualizes their own children?
That's gross.
It's disgusting.
As someone trained to be a social worker, I feel like CPS should have gotten involved in that household.
I just really think that Donald Trump is undoing the work of great people such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, and
Very well put.
yeah, I think he's a curse upon the United States, and you can tell him I said that.
Something should have been solved years ago, years ago. And it's been brought back up, racism brought back up, like, it just...
So you're
I'm disappointed in this society itself, our society anyway.
that people can be so ignorant, right?
Yes, compared to other countries that we want to be, we've always been told our country's the best, we want to be the best, but I feel like we're not really living up to that.